Call Marty and Clay at 842-KERN or toll free at 1-800-640-KERN. Now, more of Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.
We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. Our in-studio guest is Stan Ellis.
Yeah, we're talking a little bit about our coaching staff and where we're headed this year with our national championship. And like I say, we've had 4 years to get our act together. And Coach, the amount of work that goes into scouting these players is unbelievable. From the time the season ends, we have a coaching staff that starts scouting all over the world and go to camps all over the country, NBA camps, to check out players. So Will has been scouting for over a year now. He brought on his staff 6 weeks ago, and they spend about 16 hours a day getting ready for the draft. They can tell you what color shoelaces these guys like. They can tell you that they've talked to their mom, they've talked to their dad, they've talked to their sister, they know where they went to school, they've talked to their professors. They have sheets, they have booklets on every player. So Will is a workaholic. These guys just work day and night. And last year was his first year, and he kind of got blindsided by a few league things that stumbled him up on some players. This year he was Johnny on spot. And so we have an incredible team this year. We're fast. We've got the NBA TV last week. They were talking about two of our guards were the best in the D-League. So we're there. We're there this year.
That'd be Johnson and Wise.
Yeah.
Or Wise Johnson.
Yeah.
Travel. When your team travels, how do they travel?
Well, keep in mind that we have 16 teams in the U.S., all the way from Rio Grande Valley, Texas, to Fort Wayne, Indiana, Massachusetts. So we travel by air, and we sometimes fly direct out of Bakersfield, or we'll bus the guys to L.A. and go out of LAX, depends on the connections. But we are our team. The Jam was responsible for all the travel.
So it's straight commercial travel then.
Yeah, it's straight commercial.
You don't have your own plane.
Well, not for the NBA.
But you are a pilot, and you do own your own plane, right, Stan?
That is true. That is true.
Tell us a little bit about your airplane. What you use it for?
Well, it's for business. Frankly, I probably wouldn't have a plane other than for business, because they are rather expensive to operate. And it needs justification in our businesses. We're not Bill Gates or anything, so we have to justify our travel. Jet fuel is pretty expensive. So at the end of the day, unless it makes good business sense, we drive or take commercial.
Now, are you a private pilot yourself?
I am, but I'm not rated in the aircraft that we have.
So you have a commercial pilot that works for you?
That is correct.
Now, is he a full-time pilot on staff?
Yes, sir, he is.
Wow, and you don't have to call me Sir, Stan. We're buddies, remember?
Well, it sounds like an inquisition here.
I know. So. Raise your right hand.
Where were you, Stan, on the night of?
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. And you also, I think, mentioned the other day when we were talking, you fly helicopters?
I do. I like helicopters. I'm a helicopter pilot.
Oh.
Wow. And you play guitar?
Yeah, I do play guitar.
You're a pretty versatile guy, Stan. How do you find time to do all this stuff?
Well, I don't sleep a lot.
And you have 5 kids.
I do. I have 5 incredible children.
Oh, that's great.
Are they all here in Bakersfield?
They are, and I have 13 grandchildren.
Wow.
You're not that old, Stan.
Well, thanks. Yeah, but I am.
Well, you certainly don't look that old. You look a very healthy guy.
Well, thanks.
Well, I looked at the numbers, kind of did a little addition here, and he's pretty close to my age, which makes him quite a bit younger than you. There's
dead time. We'll talk afterwards.
Stan, I've just had the pleasure of meeting you the other night, so I did a little research, and you're really a true Renaissance man. I've got to hand it to you. I mean, you've got your hand in a lot of pies, and it's great. I mean, you've done well as an entrepreneur, and my hat's off to you.
Well, thanks. We've had some winners and we've had some losers, and we've had some pretty healthy lumps, and we've had some pretty healthy winners. So it's kind of leveled out. We've done okay.
Well, one of the things I noticed in the brochure was your company, DBS Management.
Yes, sir.
Where you go looking for companies. Can you talk a little bit about that company?
Yeah, I can actually. David and I, and actually I might add that success success in business, I think, is directly proportional to effort. And I've been really lucky to have in our businesses, I have some incredible partners. So I can't, in the equipment rental business, I've got a partner that is just a total workaholic, and in the well testing business, and just an incredible partner. And David in the Jam and in DBS management is an incredible partner. But to get back to your question, David and I actually several years ago had looked around at a small manufacturing business came our way. It was about broke, and we thought we could get in inexpensively. And I said to David, well, I'll tell you what, David, I'm going to buy this company, and I'm going to give you a percentage. And the good news is you get to run it. The bad news is you get no money for marketing. So David took this company, and he turned it around in about 2-3 years, and we sold it. So we looked at another business model. We said, look, that one worked. Let's look for something that has a patentable. It's distressed, and let's see if we can buy it at a decent price and build it up and sell it. So then we bought another company, and then we bought the Jam. So it's been and there's a couple other things we've had along the way too that are quite interesting, actually.
Well, you've had a lot of winners, obviously.
Yeah, we've had a few losers, and we've shut those down.
Has the Jam financially been a winner, or is that still losing money at this point?
No, we're finally on track. It took us 3 years ago. We were losing big. Last year we broke even, made a little bit, and this year we're in the black.
Oh,
wow.
Great. Fantastic.
That's incredible.
Yeah, for 4 years, that's not bad at all. Or 5 years.
Yeah.
Especially with a sports team.
A what?
A sports
team.
Sports team.
Well, you would know that definitely.
Yeah, I had my problem with sports teams.
Yes, over the years, unfortunately. You mentioned, I've heard you mention a couple times that you'd rather be lucky than good.
But
right. it just reminds me of the old Vince Lombardi line, which is, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah, good point.
So you're definitely a hard worker. Can you tell us, I looking up your bio and everything, I noticed the story about you and an American flag guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell that story?
Yeah, that was
actually.
actually
Heard that story.
I haven't heard that.
That was actually, my wife and I went out to the Crystal Palace when it first opened, and I looked on that stage, and I had a little guitar experience over the years, and I said to my wife, I want to play on that stage. So I went home that weekend, and I answered an ad in the paper to play guitar in a garage band, and we lasted about 3 years, never got a gig, but I did improve my skills a little bit. So then I went out and got another band, but as the story goes, I worked my way into the Crystal Palace, and I'd been playing after Buck for about 3 years, and each year I would get the Buckaroos a gift basket, because we're in their house and we're playing on their stage, and one Friday I gave him a gift basket, and Buck showed up, and I didn't have a gift basket for him, and I thought, gosh, what am I going to get this guy? He's got everything. He's got guitars, the guy. So I thought, I'll bet he's pretty patriotic, and I seen this Ovation guitar with a beautiful flag on it, and I brought it into town here, and there's a guy in town named Bill Gruggett that builds guitars. And I asked Bill to build Buck a Telecaster, which is what he likes. And there's a fellow over at David Jane's company, Jason Janes, that does painting. And I asked him to mimic this Ovation guitar paint scheme with a flag. I presented it to Buck, and the same night I gave it to him, Brad Paisley had given him one.
Same thing?
Well, not a different guitar, but the same type of guitar with the different paint scheme. And I'm thinking, Buck will never play that guitar. He actually played it every Friday and Saturday night till he passed away.
Wow.
And they had that guitar at his viewing, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And actually, when Garth came in and had proposed to Tricia that night, Garth played that guitar as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
That
really cool.
sort of became a symbol, I think, for Buck Owens.
Well, no, he actually had his own version of red, white, and blue. This had a flag on it, so it was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, but really...
David Higdon, you talked about David several times today. How did you and David come to get together?
Well, we had a mutual friend, actually, and David was running a coffee company. He was a CEO of a coffee business. I think they had about 35 stores in California, and David, being out of the Ford modeling agency, had known several people and contacts in Hollywood. And the guy that played with Brooke Shields in Christopher Atkins in Blue Lagoon was looking at putting a movie deal together. And this mutual friend of David and mine said, "Hey, I'd like you to, if you're interested in making a movie or doing a movie deal," which I'm always kind of snooping around for new deals. And I met Christopher Atkins at this meeting, and David was there. And so I met David, and I'm thinking, wow, this one sharp young man. And we got to know each other pretty well, and over a period of a few months, we were in business together. Great, just hardworking, honest, really just a super smart guy.
What was it like working with Buck Owens?
Buck was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Buck was real cool. He was, I heard there was a little controversy about the book that came out a few months ago, but from my perspective, working with Buck, that guy was business, and he was a good businessman. I like that the most.
Yeah.
How about his son? Do you work with his son now at all?
I do. I've played with Buddy, played music with Buddy on occasion, and when one of the guitar player there with the Buckaroos got sick, I filled in for a couple months, and I played for Buddy. Super guy, just a really fine fella.
Now, Buddy lives in Arizona, doesn't he?
Yes, sir, he does. He comes over.
There's that Sir stuff again.
Well, it's just because you look so
old.
Extinguished. I mean, distinguished.
Extinguished. Yeah, so Buddy flies in every weekend, or
every other weekend and plays.
And he runs it. Doesn't he run a radio station or something in Arizona?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I do not know that.
All right, well, this is Taking Care of Business, and it looks like we're going to be going on another break here. If you have a question for Stan, call in 842-5376. This is Clay with the Clay and Marty Show.
On Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.